Welcome back. Let's write the next unit test for the remove method. What is the simplest possible next unit test we can write? We could add all sorts of products into our shopping cart, but I'm wondering whether the simplest possible unit test would be about removing some product from an empty shopping cart. So we haven't added anything into the shopping cart and we're now trying to remove something. Okay, what am I talking about? Something like this. Facts, public void, given empty cart when call remove on, say, Apple, then something. What should happen? So we've got an empty shopping cart, we're trying to remove apples from it. What are we going to do? I've prepared a slide. Let's have a look at that. Here is the slide. So when we've got a shopping cart and we've got 3 apples in it, depicted in the top there, top left, 3 apples, and we try and remove apple by calling the remove method on shopping cart, we would necessarily want to end up with an empty shopping cart. That would be the right outcome. So we've got apples, we try and remove apples, we end up with an empty shopping cart. Okay, fine. What about below the line, right? Where we've got an empty shopping cart and we remove Apple from the cart, we can go one of 2 ways. We can kind of go the upper branch there, denoted by the A, or the lower branch denoted by the B. So we can either throw an exception, or maybe we can kind of say, hey, we've removed Apple from the shopping cart and we end up with what we had before, an empty shopping cart. Well, throwing the exception would kind of indicate that something went wrong. But did really anything go wrong in our situation? There were no apples, we removed Apple, and the shopping cart is still empty. It's the lower branch that's the correct way to proceed. This is the way to go. When there are no apples and we remove Apple, we end up with an empty shopping cart. This is no different from when we actually have apples, we remove apples, we also end up with an empty shopping cart. So whether or not we have or don't have apples, we should end up with an empty shopping cart. There is really no need to throw an exception. The problem with throwing an exception is that we remove the ability to deal with this problem from ourselves and we pass it on to the caller. It's now someone else's problem, while we're perfectly capable to deal with the situation in an elegant way. If it was already empty, we're removing apples, it is still empty. Alright, let's carry on with that in mind. Back to Visual Studio. Give an empty cart when call remove on Apple, then have empty cart. That's the situation that we want. Okay, we need an instance of a shopping cart. Cart is equal to new shopping cart as always. Cart dot remove, and now we'll remove Apple. Okay, remove's already complaining because it doesn't have a parameter and we're trying to use Apple as the argument. And with regards to verification, we have already got a verification helper method, which of course is called verify cart is empty, pass in cart, and that's it. That's looking really good. Of course, we need to add a parameter onto cart. Let's move over to cart. Here we go. String product name. We don't need to do anything with the product name just yet. Ah, beautiful. Our unit test is compiling. But the unit test that we used to force the creation of the remove method, that is now failing. Okay, up here. We don't want to remain this unit test. Its sole purpose was to have us create the remove method on the cart. It is no longer required. We don't want to maintain it. Let's remove it. Alright, good. We're looking really good when we now have our unit test, and when we're trying to remove Apple from an empty, a new instance shopping cart, we're verifying that it's empty. Okay, let's run all unit tests and see what happens. Brilliant. All unit tests are still passing. This is a test that's passing automatically. when we're trying to remove Apple on an empty shopping cart, we still end up with an empty shopping cart. Remove isn't doing anything at the moment, but this is a really good test to have because it just verifies that very much common sense baseline that when we've got an empty cart and we're trying to remove something that isn't in the cart shall remain empty. Alright, let's move on to the next test.